Let's get into it. 19 keys. I don't even know where we should start, but I want to start with the Black Wealth Standard
Yes, sir.
because that's something that I've been seeing a lot as far as you posting it a lot recently. And the Black Wealth Standard, like when you first posted that, I'm like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things that's interesting, and it's like I think I know what it means, but I want you to kind of give like the breakdown. Like, what's the Black Wealth Standard?
So it's two parts to that. We had a black standard and then we had a wealth standard. And so inside the black standard is the wealth standard. And so the black standard is really creating a system of accountability for what it means to be black. You understand me? Like, I believe that not everybody is black in the mind. You understand me? And by black, we have to create this system of accountability. Otherwise, we can't have any expectation of each other. You understand me? Like, if I consider myself to be a black man, what values do I uphold? What's my mission? What's my vision? You understand me? What does it mean to a black person? Responsibility, accountability, transparency. You could be a nigga, right? And a nigga holds a certain connotation, and there's no expectation for what a nigga is. A person can make music and say, I kill niggas, I murder niggas, I rob niggas, whatever it is. There's no accountability. So if you think in hip hop, where does the standard for hip hop to say who can and cannot be a part of hip hop? There is none. Mm-hmm. So when I think about our communities and I think about people being disappointed by so-called leaders or celebrities or activists and things of that nature, you really can't hold them to a fault because we haven't created a standard of accountability to say that, well, if you consider yourself to be a black man, then this is what you stand on. So one of the standards that we created was you have to train. If we look at everything that's been happening in the light of the circumstances that we living in right now, the Black Lives Matter movements, the white supremacy, things of that nature going on. It's like, how do you prepare yourself? And we can't just continue to complain. Somebody got to be out there training. Somebody got to be out there ready. If you say that, okay, well, we believe in gun ownership, well, you should have tactical training. If you don't believe in guns and you believe, okay, I'm going to protect myself, well, you should have combat training. You understand me? Hand in hand. If now when we go to the wealth standard, we talk about Black Wall Street, you understand me, and what happened back then, but they had a particular wealth standard, meaning that the money exchanged 30 times before it left their community. You understand me? Like they had a certain financial literacy that doesn't exist in our community. So when we talk about the black standard, it's really creating a system of accountability for those who consider themselves to be black. And I always qualify black not in the sense of nationality, the sense in your mindset. You understand me? Like, are you connected to that original spark of what it means to be a black person on the planet Earth? You understand me? Original man and that original thinking. And inside that, we know that I believe in ownership of slave ships, so that, all right, I believe in equity versus equality, because if we get equity, we confront our equality. You understand me?
Yeah.
And I know you all believe in that because I've seen certain things that you post, and it makes sense that if we get equality, then everybody get what we got and it's still unequal.
Yeah. I've been fighting for that. It's especially in education. It's like people need to understand the difference. Exactly. I think people have always said equal rights. I'm like, yo, forget like we need to change our 3 E's. I always say that. Like, equality's cool. Equity's more important. Economic empowerment is even more important.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And but look at, so other communities have a wealth standard. The Jewish community represent 2% of the population, but the top 100 Forbes billionaires, 25%. Jewish community. When we look at that Asian community, who has the top household income? It's not white folks, even though we always compare that, but it's the Asian community, and more specifically, it's the East Indian and the Asian community. And who's top leverage when it comes to looking at the tech sector? You understand me? They're the top paid. And you can understand that because they basically look at, all right, what's going on in the community? What's going on in the world? Right, so if Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all of these people are becoming the new billionaires and the new ruling power, then they said, well, shit, that's what we need to get into. Let's do Huawei. You understand me? And they get into digital technology and they get into coding and things of that nature. So when you look at Shenzhen, China, in the last 5 to 10 years, they've been able to build up a system to go from rice farmers, you understand me, to tech billionaires and millionaires, because they said that, oh, well, this is going to be our way towards wealth. Now, in the black community, we still think entertainment and sports is our wealth standard.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. We've been saying that from day one.
That's a fact.
And every other community puts more emphasis on education than we do, but the right kind of education. You understand me? Like, we don't have a specific type of education that we go for. And so when we think about having a wealth standard, you can really study other communities who've done it better than us, because all communities have done it better than us.
Yeah.
You understand me? Even the Hispanic community, their income is higher than ours and continues to rise higher than ours. They're more likely to own a house than we are once we leave a household. You understand me? And so creating a wealth standard is really creating a system of accountability that you can think towards going towards that goal of wealth. Like, wealth is having an abundance of assets, and the average person, the average black person specifically, because if 50% of America is financially illiterate, then that number is extremely high in the black community.
Yeah, that's important. So mindset is the key, and I've heard you say this numerous times, right? If you could change the way somebody thinks, you can change their world.
Absolutely.
So when did your mindset get changed, or was this something that was always in your household as you were coming up?
Absolutely not. So there's levels to that question, right? So the wealth standard was never in my household. Now, we was taught, economic empowerment and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who taught about those different things, but the knowledge, the how-to, the applicable knowledge on how to get there, portfolio diversification and understanding commodities and stocks and things of that nature, and that was not in my household. But the do for self mentality was always there. So when I was about 19 years old was when I think I really made a shift to wanting to go upon this journey and teaching others. And that's because I had a case when I was 19. You understand me? I think before the age of 19, I probably been arrested about 10 times, had about 5 to 6 cases, but I always fought them all. And that's because I seen my father fight his cases. So having that example, I knew what was possible and I knew what I needed to do. And so really, in that last case, I was going through it, and I was locked up in a jail, and I was reading this book. And the book was a fictional book. I don't remember what it was, but it was a story book. It was very detailed. I could imagine and picture it was like a movie in my head. And then as I was done reading that book and I got through the whole thing and I looked around, and I'm still in the cell. And nothing in that book qualified me to get past this case and empowered me in any situation whatsoever. So I felt like I just wasted all my time. And then when I got to trial, my older brother had gave me a list of books to read. Art of Deception, some Sun Tzu war books, a bunch of different books on legalese. And he wanted to give me books that we could actually apply when it came towards trial. You understand me? Books that were applicable knowledge. And I remember learning certain things and having to tell my lawyer certain things to get certain parts of the case thrown out. And eventually, of course, we got to that point where the case was found not guilty. You understand me? I ain't got no record.
For the record.
Yeah, for the record. But after that, I haven't read a fictional book. You understand me? I only read information for the purpose of applying it in some way in my life. And I know that, you can read stories and it expands the minds and things of that nature, but that's just where I'm at. And after that, I only wanted to find that sort of information because 80% of people don't take it to trial. You understand me? They plea out. And that's either ignorance, a lack of money, representation, a multitude of different things. But I just think about those individuals that I grew up with in the hood. When they jumped off that porch, they get caught in that system, and then they get stuck in that cycle because they ain't had nobody to get them some keys, somebody to get them some books that can guide them to the right mindset where they can free themselves. So ever since I was 19 years old, I just been on this journey of, damn, how do I unlock the next man whose mind is without the proper knowledge and information to where they can be that highest self.
So it's interesting because I think it was actually with Dane, right? We spoke about, we was like, you can't just tell somebody to stop hustling without giving them a
if you don't got no answer. He said, don't talk to me about the problems if you ain't got no answers.
Yeah. You can't like say, okay, I'm out here, I'm making $1,000 a day. You telling me to stop doing what I'm doing, but you're not giving me any solution. Right. So as far as like practical like solutions, as far as like building wealth in the community, because like you brought up a good point, sports entertainment, that's our wealth standard because that's what we know.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like every neighborhood has at least one NBA player or one NFL player or one rapper. So that's an aspiring person that you can look at and say, okay, he made it doing this, so I know I have a chance. At least I have a shot doing this, right?
It's the mirror effect.
Yeah, so it's like, how do we get into, building that practical? Is it through trades? Is it through entrepreneurship as far as brick and mortar locations? Is it through online? Is it variety? Is it investing? Like, what's some of the ways that we can actually encourage people to kind of get them on the wealth path?
Well, I believe in skill set diversification. You understand me? That, you don't just have one thing, because as we seen through the COVID-19 and the quarantine, if one fail and circumstances beyond your control happens, what you gonna do? So many people had to pivot during this time, and they didn't know what their second stop was. You understand me? So number one, I look at the education system and I look at everybody else's wealth standards, and we can look at the Asian community specifically, because let's ask ourselves, how many Asian leaders can you think of in the last 100 years in America? How many Asian leaders you can think of that just prominent voices that speak for the Asian community? Can't really think of any.
Mm-mm.
Now, we've been spoiled with leadership in our community, so we always looking for somebody to lead us. You understand me? Instead, their leadership is their education. You understand me? Their leadership is their family standard on how they build together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, number one, you have to destroy that dependency model of I'm looking for somebody to save me.
Yeah.
And now you have to create a new savior, which is the education, which is getting into the digital real estate, as my brother Ben X calls it, and looking like, oh, yes, entrepreneurship 100%. And people always say, well, entrepreneurship not for me. That's not true. You understand me? Like, thinking like an entrepreneur is for everybody. We live in a capitalist society. So if you're not thinking like an entrepreneur, then you're somebody's consumer. You understand me? So that's a slave-based mindset, because either you figure out a way to free yourself into the ultimate role of the sovereignty, or you just a debted slave. So number one, entrepreneurship, the mindset towards education has to shift. The education has created an opportunity, because everything that they didn't teach, now we can teach. You understand me? So we really have to thank them. They didn't teach real estate. You understand me? They didn't teach entrepreneurship the way we utilize it today. They didn't teach stocks and trading and things of that nature to where we can easily apply it. So now, guess what? We get to teach all the things that we know.
Yep.
It creates an income for us. So when I look at the fact that it's more expensive to house a prisoner than it is to go to Harvard, and Harvard with all its great endowments is not about to change, you understand me, it's price to go there. It's tuition whatsoever. They don't care about that. So I say, well, shit, digital education is the new Harvard. You understand me? Right now, you can go spend the next 2 to 3 weeks learning coding, you understand me, and increase your income just by having a new skill set. You can go in the next 3 to 5 weeks learning trading, you understand me, and now you have a new way to bring in income. So when we look at the unemployment rate, it doesn't have to affect you if you have skill sets that employ you, you understand me? And so you start with learning skills, first of all, skills that you can trade for income, increasing your human capital and your value on the marketplace.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.